Before we begin, everybody, sponsor mention Cycle Systems Online. You know, as I say many times, it's off-season. No better time to take care of your bikes. Proper maintenance, upgrades, or even major repairs can be made by you at home thanks to Cycle Systems Online. Full mechanics education source for everything from changing a tire, changing and building your own wheels, all at your own pace. That's the big thing. It is at your own pace. You take the classes online. So get to Pack Filler. Check out the link to Cycle Systems Online today. Second, our Pack Filler online store is fully operational. If you order now, it will not get to you by Christmas. I know I'm supposed to say the opposite, but I practically make everything in this room that goes onto that website, and I will not ship it to you in time. So I might send you an email with a picture saying, it's on its way. Yeah. So get to packfiller.com today. Fun swag we have to show your Pack Filler pride. Mugs, shirts, caps, and kits. All kinds of fun and a good dose of tongue-in-cheek. Packfiller.com. Finally, Scratch Labs. Best way to fuel. Flavors, recipes, variety, and availability. Scratch has it all. Trust us. Indoor training requires you to keep hydrated. Keep that pool of sweat. Well, you see that pool of sweat on the floor? Well, you got to stay on top of that. Scratch can make sure you gain fitness while not dehydrating. Use your link at packfiller.com. Let's do this. Oh. I can't watch the news anymore, man. I was watching the news before I came down, and it's just, oh my God.
Gotta avoid that. I just get my news from X these days.
That was a timely callback joke because I deleted the Pack Filler X account. We're no longer on Xer.
You don't need to support that.
Sitter or whatever.
Just trying to own a letter of the alphabet.
Yeah. I guess so, I read some. Sam just got a great idea.
I am enlightened.
Which one was it?
It's this one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go. Wow.
Well, not to start on a down note, but we are T-minus 14 days until the end of GCN Plus. And it looks like pro bike racing without pizza commercials is not going to happen. So I'm going to play around with it. I want to see if we can VPN our way into Discovery Plus. It wouldn't be illegal. Right?
Yeah. No, I'm on board.
I'm not incriminating myself right now on a live podcast.
Technically, no.
Okay. On a positive note, the beers are poured, and it's time to play bikes on the Pack Filler podcast. We are live at packfiller.com as well as our YouTube channel, which are one and the same technically. Anyway, I'm Pat Bulger. We are a few men down. Let's see who's here with tonight's prologue question, although they've already spoke. Gentlemen, what was your favorite show as a kid? Your favorite show? So usually I'd start with Paul, but he's not here. He's watching Gonzaga University basketball play a team that is the equivalent of a high school B squad. So he's missing the show for that.
That's fair.
No, it's not. It's sad. It's pitiful, and I'm upset.
Wait, he's watching a high school game?
No, he's watching Gonzaga University.
Oh my God.
Live.
Okay.
He's got tickets to the game. It's like the Alabama Prairie Dogs or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So there we go. Next, he's the guy who's only here to talk about himself, Mr. Sam Wafels.
Me. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm just gonna. There are tons of shows as a kid, but gut thing, Gilligan's Island.
What?
Yeah. I think it's also tied back to the memories of like my dad really liked that, and so we would watch it together.
Okay.
So I think that's probably because I had cartoons that I obviously loved, but that's like a laundry list.
Yeah.
If I have just one.
See, you guys grew up in the time of cartoons 24/7.
Yep.
Not me.
Always.
Yeah, not me.
Was Simpsons around when you were? When was that? Because I know it's been around forever.
Simpsons came around when I was high school, college.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jetsons?
Oh, yeah. Jetsons were as a kid. That was Saturday morning kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
You can only watch cartoons Saturday mornings, you know, and then that was it, you know, and as soon. Anyway. Third, no David. What's his problem?
I don't know. He's working 12 days in a row and getting sick like a chump.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, David, have some control of your schedule, why don't you?
Seriously.
Wow. 12 days in a row?
It's brutal, actually. Yeah.
Day shifts, night shifts?
Well, he did have one where he like shifted.
So this light's going to turn on and off for you all
that's
night.
weird.
So.
Oh, that does it.
Anyway.
Maybe if we just rotate it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that he had to work. Maybe he was done with nights. Anyway, I mean, he had to work all weekend. I called him a couple times, like, hey, what are you doing? He's, I'm working. I'm working.
Jobs are stupid.
They are. Like, I don't know why he's choosing to do this. It's obviously self-inflicted.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He could easily quit and just
He could
work
quit
somewhere else.
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, his wife is a doctor.
That's true.
She's going to be screaming at me after this.
Yeah, right. Next is the guy who's been Christmas shopping since September, Mr. Jackson Bulger.
Yeah, start early. That's how you save the money on it. If you chip at it slowly. Yeah, I know. Well, not September.
I was
October.
joking. Oh, okay. I was
October.
joking, but you're only like a couple weeks off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you get the stuff early before it's sold out. Helps, like I said, save a little money. Chip at it slowly. So, yeah, that's my.
You and your wife
deal.
are very serious about this shit. I mean, it is next level.
Yeah, we're big gift givers.
When the tree go up? What day?
It went up probably Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Real or fake?
It's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't
No
put
judgment.
You can't put a real tree up before
Yeah, I
Thanksgiving.
don't even know if they sell them before then.
It just burst into
Yeah,
flame.
Yeah.
it would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Christmas vacation.
We have our tree I don't like for two reasons. Number one, it's fake. And number two, it has white lights. I want colored lights.
Yeah, that's a debate.
Yeah.
That's a hot topic.
I couldn't win because my wife's like, you don't put it up. And she's right. Me, I'm the guy who freezes up when anybody asks me what I want for Christmas. I do. I'm Pat Bulger, and my favorite show what was your favorite show as a child, Jackson?
Oh, right. My favorite show, I remember watching Star Wars The Clone Wars when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite shows.
Really?
Yeah,
you
I even
are
had PJs.
young.
Yeah.
I remember
yes,
that
yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
Not the movie, the cartoon
No, I know.
series.
Yeah, the cartoon series.
Yeah.
It was really good. I had the PJs and everything.
Ton
I
of
remember
series,
watching it. I loved that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not the same when you're an adult, though. It doesn't hit. It hits very different.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember like you were into like the normal Nickelodeon kind of thing, like when
Yeah.
you were really little, like the Blues Clues and Bear in the Big Blue House and stuff like
Rocket
that.
League.
Yeah.
Rocket
Power.
Rocket Power. Rocket
Yeah.
League's
Yeah,
very
you're
different
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first show though that I remember every single week on the dot. I watched it every time.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My favorite show, and I wish Paul was here because none of you guys are going to know this. I thought of all the shows I really like to watch, and the one it was the $6 Million Man. It was a guy who had bionic arms and legs and an eye.
Yeah.
And he could run super fast and stuff like that. And if you actually take inflation in, the $6 Million Man would just be basically like a dude with 2 hip replacements and a heart ablation.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
You're on your way.
So if I get 2 hip replacements, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm a $6 Million man.
Yeah.
Fuck. So I threw one of my F words out there right there. I guess that means we can talk about Paul and David in a not so positive light. So time to air our grievances, gentlemen. I'll start. Disc brakes are kind of cool.
They are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody else want to throw some out, Sam? Anyone want to bash your
mean,
brother or Paul or
I would
Jackson?
start off by saying a skin suit does not make wrinkles more arrow. His chicken wings just flapping back there. Make old jokes towards Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do I want to do for David? Oh, yeah. Being sick isn't going to make you faster than me in the spring.
Oh.
That is... that we're going to get into that with training.
Yeah.
But
Jackson, you're too nice, aren't you? To not bash.
I just don't know if
You're
I
like,
have.
He's a poopy head.
you're like Winston on New Girl, huh? It's like way too much or like not enough.
Well,
You're like...
yeah, maybe.
You're like, that was personal.
Yeah.
Or like... Was that a joke? Or
Yeah.
Did he say something?
I definitely get that. I think sometimes there's just a lot of TV static going on up in the brain, and sometimes when I'm called into action like that quickly, the TV static, it's just there's not enough time to flick the TV to the other HDMI.
All the improvisation years of improv don't kick
Man,
in.
it's been years.
Really?
Yeah.
You have short jokes for David.
Yeah.
You have old jokes
You
for
did.
Paul.
He
I
did
mean,
the elf
world
on the
is-
shelf
yeah,
though
you
for
did.
David that year.
And
was
that is
funny.
now a real thing. Kenzie was dying last week just thinking about that.
Your
We
voice is so good.
We should get I know we're saying this out loud, and he's probably listening, but we
Yeah.
should get him a costume and not tell him about it.
Make him wear an elf on a shelf costume.
That'd be
for
pretty
the
funny.
podcast. That would be good.
Just saying.
That would be good.
Yeah. Oh, And we could just call him the fool on the stool because he sits at the end of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about Snoop on the Stoop? I just heard about it today. I guess it's like a
Snoopy?
Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
You can actually buy and do like the
yes,
Elf on
I
the
have.
Shelf thing, but with Snoop.
That's
on the
pretty
Stoop.
funny.
I've never heard of it until today.
Isn't Snoop Dogg now Snoop Lion, though?
He was. Now he's.
He's back to Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
God, I need to keep up with it.
Yeah. Okay. All kidding aside, how everybody's cycling life going? How's? Oh God, Sam, you're gonna make me mad.
It's good.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm happy with it. I'm committed to 3 days a week, but for I think the last 2 weeks, I've gotten 4 days.
So tell me about these 4 days, and
Yeah.
we're going into detail more as the show progresses.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm just following the Trainer Road program. Last week was a lot of sweet spot and threshold workouts. None of them are like it's an hour and a half tops for me. I can't do it. I can't do more than that. And I'm on board with your like, you like walk uphill on the treadmill, you do a rowing machine, all that for like multiple hours. Then, but like I can't sit on a bike for more than an hour and a half. If it's a movie and I have to now change to a new movie, I'm not doing it.
No, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, that's what my workouts have been, and then during the week it's something like an hour, even 45 minutes sometimes.
Yeah,
which is good. Yeah.
Okay. How many? So all those are on bike workouts.
Yep.
So you're not counting your other stuff.
Nope. Other stuff doesn't count. Like I've been doing, core workouts, stuff like that, but that doesn't. I'm not worried about that.
So you guys are messing with me then, because I've always thought it was you guys are like, 3 days a week. And I'm like, okay, 3 days a week, that's not bad. But then you're like, I'm not counting the fact that I'm doing 80 sit-ups a day. I'm waking up and I'm doing a full hit, high intensity interval
repeats.
training. Yeah, I'm doing that. That doesn't count. It's not on a bike. So I'm like, you guys are stringing me along, man.
Yeah. No, we're just crushing you.
Okay, Jackson, how's your cycling week gone?
Yeah, it's been good. So I've kind of swapped things around. I'm now 4 a day every week.
Okay.
Including Tuesdays, which is a lot. Yeah, I know.
So what are the days that you're doing this?
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Nothing on weekends. Okay.
Because realistically, I know that I'm not going to do anything on weekends, and I don't want to hold myself to that.
Okay.
Dude, good for you.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's honestly fantastic. Also, doing it back to back to back is very beneficial.
It just gets it out of the way, and I feel like I want to gain both. I know the anaerobic training of it all. I know the cycling training of it all, but I want to add in other parts of it as well. I mentioned last week that I purchased some weights, and and that has been every single day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So.
This show is going to give me
You're screwed.
So much anxiety.
I know.
I am going to.
You're going to be up all night.
I'm going to walk into a monastery tomorrow and just give up.
David did say he does have an elf costume, and he really does like the fool on the stool idea. So
does he?
He does have an elf costume, actually.
Fool on the stool. Hey, that was pretty good. That's at least I can contribute something. I'm finally getting a bit of time to dedicate back to laying down a base. And I know base training is kind of an outdated concept, but I'm there. I'm on System and I'm on Ruby, and technically neither of them give us any money. So I do like Ruby. It's actually not bad. And I think my 2-week trial ends this Saturday, and I'm going to probably just keep going with it because I don't mind it. I plan to start a daily training program that includes 2 to 3 bike, 2 to 3 strength, and 1 to 2 yoga days or stretching or something like that. Now, that's not like, that's 6, 7, 8. That's technically 8 days, but I'm not going to do that. I'll combine strength and yoga and stuff like that. But I got to start because and it's anyway, as we're on this trajectory, I think we're going to just jump right into the
Christmas break for you too, because that's always a good
next
time.
Friday.
Yeah.
I want to cry so bad when I hear that because I'm so excited for it.
Because it's still another week and 3 days.
Do you get that too?
Yeah.
He works in a school. Why wouldn't he get it?
I work too much. David's listening still. He's just going to be like, yeah, I know. David's going to be like, you never work.
Yeah.
You're always on vacation.
Screaming at his phone.
Screaming.
No! I hate you. So our topic for tonight, and Sam brought this one to the table, and I'm going to paraphrase you here, but motivation for training. As you stated, there's well-proven science on things that we can do to be faster, but does that ruin the passion? Does it ruin the fun? I'm sure we all know people who are incredibly focused and scientific in their preparation, but can we live that life? Is that the kind of people we want to be in our cycling lives? So let's start with your approach to your training, and you guys can vary from my questions as often as you want, because I'm sure you guys have ways in which to do this. But how detailed are you guys in your preparation? Is it pre-prescribed kind of stuff like that, or do you guys plan out your own stuff? How detailed are you on it? Is it Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then next Monday I'm building up, the macro cycles and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'll give you a chance to clear that static in your head.
I appreciate that. I really do.
What did he say?
But yeah, I mean, and also I've thought about this a lot, but I am Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Those are because they give me time to recover. If I want to do other things between there, awesome. Just, cherry on top. But I have committed to those. And for me, I have done a whole bunch of different training things in the past. And I just found that, if I just set a routine like that it's better for me, because otherwise I get, I take more of a systematic approach to this. I love learning about science and ways to make you better. So power gains are huge. Versus weight loss gains or any of that other stuff. If you put on 10 watts versus taking off 10 pounds, it's one of those things that watts are always king, right? There is if we're talking high level athlete, then
Oh, I thought you were talking about high level fat. And you were looking at me.
I'm
while
looking
saying
at you.
it.
I'm oh yeah. So if you're Pat and you can afford to lose about 40 pounds.
40 pounds. Oh my God. 40 pounds, I would be a god. I would so be a god. Not to make,
You'd be his size.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
But anyway, that's what works for me, and that's what keeps the passion alive for me. But there is a fine line with that, which is kind of how I phrased that. Is that's what's motivating to me is to take the scientific approach as opposed to just doing la-di-da.
So you're testing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to be faster.
Okay. Jackson, how are you in your preparation? How do you approach this? Do you just kind of plug in a system training plan and go from there, or do you wake up on, for example, Sam says it's Monday morning. Mm-hmm. Today's a workout day. Do you wake up on that day? Is your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I know I'm working out. I know what I'm doing every day of this week.
Yeah. So to break down my whole week is I have recently found, and it's really funny, and I think that this is a really helpful tool, is that I found a lot of my weight training stuff, all of my weight training stuff through Instagram.
What?
All of it. I found the whole routine. I saw people doing exercises with a kettlebell. That's all I use is a kettlebell.
Yeah.
And I found people doing specific exercises that work the whole body, because I find that as a cyclist, what I like to do is do some sort of system workout, and then afterward, on those days that I do the system workout, add in that full body. Because what I was gonna say is I find as a cyclist that if you do one specific part of your body, then I think that you begin to gain too much in one specific area.
Yeah,
that's just my thought on it. I don't know if that's
imbalance.
Scientific.
Yeah,
exactly.
Massive imbalance.
Yeah, and so
high shoulders.
Yeah. Well, but I know, for instance, Mondays, typically yesterday I had to take a 4-hour-long CPR class. So yesterday I missed it.
Yeah.
And so today what I did instead was I did a system workout, which would Tuesdays are typically just weight days. But because I missed it yesterday, I included them both. Tomorrow is a weight day. Then Wednesday's a system day. Thursday's a weight day. And so I just have that every single week. And to pick the system workouts, I usually know my strengths. So one of the days is probably a sprint day, because I want to commit to that. I know that's
this time of year you're doing sprint stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll probably do that once a week, every single week, because I know that if I'm going to commit to that part of my writing qualities, I know that I need to practice it at least once a week. The other time is one of my weaknesses. Today I did an like that 5-minute power.
Yeah.
That's one of my weaknesses. And so I focus specifically on that. And so I always try and balance it that way.
I'm going to be the realist in the room. I plan. I have entered more training plans into system and deleted them and restarted a new training plan into system and deleted it because I'll get going and then life gets in the way. Right. I've been at this sport for so long, and believe it or not, I'm a certified coach. Believe it or not, I know I'm the dumbass on the show that makes fun of himself all the time, but I kind of know my shit. And so I will also many times I have more pieces of scratch paper. In fact, I made one yesterday just where I write out a weekly plan for like the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'll write it out every day of what I think could be done. And then when a day goes off here or something else happens here or, life gets in the way, I throw that piece of paper away. And so my planning is good. It's the consistent implementation of those plans that always kind of falls short.
So then do you think that you're setting too high of a bar though? Because that is like a big part of like both in my current world, but past world of training, talking about like realistic goals and having the taste of success with like, I did 6 weeks without missing. Like to me, I've done, like 8 weeks of not missing a training workout. And I'm like, that feels awesome.
It does.
Whereas like when you miss one, like I used to just delete it because I was like,
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to pretend like I missed that. You know?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I do. But I will admit that over time, I have admitted that I am going to miss workouts.
Yep.
And that's okay. And to not necessarily restart, but to pick up where you left off.
Yep.
And I find that helps. But there will be times, like, for example, because of work with the last 3 weeks, I maybe got 1 or 2 rides in a week, and that really set things back. And so those are the times when I'm like, okay, maybe we should reset. Maybe we should start over. And it's okay again to start over, but it's hard to do that. So are you guys really good at sticking to the plan? Sam, you're saying 8 weeks. Crying out loud.
Yeah. No, I would say like I'm really good at sticking to the plan, but that didn't happen until I had I give full credit to just like setting a realistic goal, like we were just talking about, but like having the space, like that is so huge to have the space that I just like. I have to literally walk down the stairs in my chamois and put on my shoes, clip in. I've got a TV that works. I have everything that's just fired up right there. Like it's so brainless that like I've eliminated as many barriers as I could, which is what I think is takes to be successful at training. Because I don't know, especially like where we are in the Northern Hemisphere, like the days are dark, and I'm just like, when I wake up in the morning and it's dark out, I'm like, go to, as you were saying earlier, a well lit room. Like you brought up those lights that we posted, and it's like I have a well lit room. It's bright, it feels energetic, all that, and it's like, all right, let's get my workout on.
Are you morning?
Morning.
You are morning. How early?
I am like, I think it just depends, but probably on the bike between 7 and 8.
God, I wish I could do that.
I know. That is it's hard because you guys have to be on the bike by what, 5?
Yeah. I have to be at work by 7:30.
Me too.
Yeah.
So you have to do afternoon, really. I mean, if I'm being realistic with myself, I would have to do afternoon. There's no way I'm waking up at 5 to do that.
But then I'm not coming home until 5:30.
I know.
And then
make dinner.
And then it's like I want to sit down and talk to my wife. I don't want to be that douchebag who's 8 months away from a divorce because he doesn't talk to his wife anymore.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're listening to this show and you're like going, I don't even know my wife's name.
Yeah.
Then learn.
You're the problem.
Jackson. So same question. I mean, how good are you at sticking to it? I mean, do you hold tight and Are you mornings?
No, never mornings.
You're
never, ever mornings.
Ever.
Way too early for me. So what I did to kind of like form the base of my answer here is I started originally with a 3-day week plan. That was it. I was only riding. And so I think that was really good for me because I would miss a lot here and there. I'd only do 2 a weeks a lot of the time. And that was a great start for me because I knew that I could stick most of the time to a 3-day workout plan. Even if it didn't work, I didn't beat myself up because of last year I would do that and that would make it like the bike an enemy for me.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part is not beating yourself up if you miss something. And so when I started to really get consistent on that, that's when I built up to a 4-day plan.
Okay.
Because now I find myself, I'm motivated, I really want to do it, and now I'm starting to stick to it. So at least I think a good place for me to start was to give myself a little bit of slack and then realize that I can achieve something. And so like actually going for it is something that, same like you said, it's really empowering when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm asking this question for a friend. Oh, it just came up on my phone. Do you guys ever find yourself in the snowball situation where it's like I'm behind? The snowball just keeps getting bigger, and you're just like, F it.
Oh, yeah. With a lot of things in life. But like, no, it is like that is totally like what I'm saying earlier with the having those, like, I start with baby steps. Like, if you look at a checklist that I make, it's like, wake up in the morning and brush my teeth. Check. You know? It's like,
I did
go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. You know, it's like, it's like all of these, like, being serious about it now, realistic goals that I can do. And that's why, because, like, personally, if I were to make it so that it was 4 or 5 days of training a week, I would miss one, and then I would get like, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing it. Yeah. And then it's like I put that stress on myself, which then is overwhelming to me. And like what you're talking about, it's like, I mean, that shouldn't really change anything. Instead, I'd rather set the bar low, and every time, and low, I mean, it's still 3 rides a week, but like set it to a very attainable goal. And then every time that I do something more, it's like, I did 4 rides this week. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I did 4. You know?
Yeah. I think what's really cool too is like it is really a big deal to set the bar low.
Yeah.
Because like if you set a workout goal of working out every single day of every single week, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to achieve that unless you are the most dedicated person in the world. I know for a fact that I say this not all the time because that would be douchey, but I say it here and there. I would say that I guess the 3 of us are pretty serious about exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But even if I'm serious about it, I still miss things.
Yeah.
And so that's okay.
Yep.
Do you guys find that you were talking about people who, you know, if I set up to work out every day, I'm not going to hit it. Do you guys find when you go on social media and you see people who are totally, you know, that living that life, working out every day and stuff like that, and they're just like living my best life, bro, or something like that? Mm-hmm. Does that help or hinder? Asking for a friend.
Well, something that I found recently, and like I said, I find these workouts on Instagram, and with that comes influencers that sell is a big word in that, this lifestyle, you know, of the workout every day. I'm living my best life, bro. Yeah. But I think there's also a side that needs to be told that like they're not perfect people either. They're missing workouts here and there. They're not really that fit as you think they are. Yeah. And I think that also a lot
except they're walking around 24/7 with their shirt off. And those type of people, I'm just like going, and their smile is so big that they smile any bigger, their head is going to flip open like a fucking Pez dispenser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I know what sorry, you mean. I'm just naming a type of person.
Yeah. I get 100% what you mean because there's a lot of those type of people out there.
I got problems.
I would say though that like you're leading into kind of the like next point that I was going to make of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators, right? Because like that is very much comparing yourself to someone else, in which is like an extrinsic in the sense of like, am I better than this person? Can I achieve this goal? You know, of like winning this race. Like it's something that is not necessarily in your control, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess, I mean, there's even some of these that I'm going to list are not totally in your control. You could have a horrible accident and be slowed down. But if you instead look at this at like, who gives a shit what Joe Blow is doing over here? I know that my watts right now are this, and I want them to be that. And then you meet that goal, and you're like, I'm a hero.
Yeah.
That's why I walk in. You guys just need to start setting the bar at a reasonable level like I am. And by reasonable, I mean it's low.
But that's so...
It's down here
but
for me.
I'm not going to... You guys are saying
I
it's
walk
low.
in, I'm like, I'm amazing.
You guys are saying it's low, but I'm calling kind of bullshit on that.
Yeah.
Because your establishment of setting a low bar is to go from, I'm just picking numbers out of my ass. Like, I want to go from 300 to 320 watts FTP, and it's like, that's high.
Yeah. No, you're calling us. Yeah, that's I agree with you.
Okay, so to say I'm setting the bar low is one thing, but it's an individual case.
It is.
So
Exactly, yes.
I'm at 295 FTP. I just want to, by the end of February, be it above 300 or something like that. And that's an easy thing to accomplish.
And you can
or if
even,
I'm 80 FTP and I want to get to 90. Can you imagine 80 FTP?
But it's like things come up where that's not even an intrinsic thing, right? Like intrinsic is going to be more of like, I know that I can set across, 2 days a week where I'm going to do a workout. I'm going to set it 2 days a week where I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Not even going to work out. I'm just going to wake up at 5 a.m. Like what you were doing earlier, right? Adjusting.
I got to get back into it because it worked.
Yeah. You just set some kind of a goal that you can achieve. Start there. Because when I was starting, I even started with less than 3 days a week. When a year or two ago when I was really getting into trainer. I've been doing it for years, but I think that starting with a reasonable number is what really makes you grow in this.
Mm-hmm.
Methods. Do you design your own training, or are you just relying on the algorithm?
That's interesting. Because I've never relied on an algorithm, because I find, like you said, Dad, that I will never stick to that algorithm. I will get distracted. I'll get lazy. I'll want to not do that.
The system programs are very specific, and then you see the red marks on your ledger, and you start going, "Oh, I fail. I suck. Reset."
Right, and I think that's something that's super important. I found over the past year is what works for you mentally.
Yeah.
Are you going to get discouraged by those red marks? Because a lot of people would. I know I would. I'd get sad and think, oh, you're shitty. You're not going to accomplish anything next year.
Yeah, you're not good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You miss these. You're not good enough. Everybody else is making them.
Yeah, and that's...
It's like you're the voice in the mirror.
Well, it's a serious thing.
You have problems. I gotta make the joke.
Well, I get it, yeah. But that's why I make my own, is because if I miss it, there's no program telling me that I missed it. I'm holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
And then when you accomplish that, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but it feels great.
Yep.
When do you pick the workouts? Is it the day of?
It's game time decision.
No shit.
Yeah.
So you'll go just walk into the room, click, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, in your bib,
Grab the iPad
and just scroll.
Yes,
and find something.
I do not like this time of year.
I can't fly by the seat of my pants like that.
I don't like anything longer than 40 minutes because I feel like a lot of the time, especially because now I'm not just riding on Zwift, because that's not accomplishing anything. Really.
No.
So with 40 minutes of a structured interval workout, I think that is sweet spot for me, plus a little bit of added extra time afterwards to do the things that I need to do. I've been stretching.
Good man.
I didn't today, and I feel it.
Yeah, me too.
But so that's everything's kind of a game time decision, and I think that's what's good for me.
Yeah.
Oh God. Sam, you go off.
Oh man, I will.
But you don't. I mean, I keep wanting to give you shit about the fact that you're saying you're only working out 3 days a week, but at the onset of the show, you're not working out 3 days a week. You're working like 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's true, because I am doing other stuff. But once again,
so quit lying to us, dude.
I just think that that other stuff is just bonus. And once again, it's all setting your mindset right for training, because I think it was 3 courses in college on psychology of sport.
Yeah.
And for me, if I were to say all of these pieces are part of my training program, and then I miss any one piece, I'm throwing it away.
So okay.
Whereas if I say the bike is part of my training, and these 3 days a week, that's what I need to do.
Oh, wow.
Then anything, once again, that I'm putting on it is just cherry on top, right? So yeah, I am doing like stretching. I do that all the time at work just because of my job. But then on top of that, like I did a workout class last night, right?
Yeah.
And so that is not considered, part of my workout because I may not go next week. And then I'd be like, I missed it. Not good enough. Like this isn't, I'm missing my program. But whereas instead, because it's not framed into that, I walk away patting myself on the back like, what a freaking legend I am. I did 2 workouts yesterday. I did my bike in the morning and I did that in the afternoon. But that doesn't have to happen every time. So that's where it's like setting that, once again, very attainable goal and framing what it is that you want to specifically have in your, like you don't have to add everything in. You don't have to lay it out. To me, 50 crunches have to happen on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, right? Like, don't even get that specific. You're going to hop on your bike for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, and then, maybe you're going to do intervals for an hour. As specific as you want to be with it. Yeah. And that's where, like, I would lead us into also saying, like, when we get really sciencey about this, like, does that ruin it for you guys? Because there's, like, things that, like we're all talking about core workouts and stuff like that. But, like, if we get into being, like, really specific about, like, that would ruin it for me. If I was thinking, like, I need to be on this program so that next year I'm coming in, like, on this nutrition program so that I'm losing a little bit of weight so that, I can be watts per kilo faster.
Oh, man.
Like, does that ever ring for you guys? Because for me, that's like, there's a fine line there of where it's like winter training is kind of like fall is chill, fun, rip your friend's legs off. And then winter is like, I don't know, a time to
Dark
reset.
beer tastes good.
Right? Like,
the science part of it for me, at least, it turns me off for sure.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I think that if I'm not making money off of this, what in my mind is really the point of getting into that stuff? Because then that's shit for people who spiral. That's a lot of things to think about in a amount of time that I just don't have.
Totally.
I don't have time to watch my calories during the day when one kid's crying, the other kid's trying to drag me to help him cut an elf out.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's unrealistic just to think of an average person like we are.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say I do go down that rabbit hole a little bit.
Right.
I am the type of person who I make fat jokes all the time. I'm not a fat guy.
No.
I'm a broad-shouldered. I'm a broad-shouldered person who I weigh, I'll be honest, over 200 pounds. I'm just that. I'm also at like
You're
11% body fat.
But that's your build.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so the weight to power to weight ratio is something that is constantly on the back of my mind. And it is some ways, especially climbing, that I'm trying to think, how can I get faster in climbs? And so that is something that is constantly in the back of my mind. Usually this time of year, I do use some sort of a calorie tracker. I just because I want to just kind of go, oh, Pat, okay, he's off, something like that. And just, I'm not, flagellating myself, whipping myself over it. But I like to kind of know some of those things. So that's a science element I use. I do like to FTP test. I do like to do that kind of stuff to monitor how I'm doing and getting faster or slower or whatever it might be. And so some of those things, I'm a big fan of. I was a Whoop man until just recently because nothing against Whoop. It's just I was like, you know what? I know if I feel like shit in the morning, and and so whatever. And I know how to treat myself right, and I will do things like my wife and I do dry January and stuff like that, little things like that along the way. Again, smaller things that every day, hey, maybe I should have an athletic. Where's my chime? Oh, well, fuck it. But things like that, and I'll so I am paying attention to that kind of stuff. I do try to keep to some of those things. But again, I'm also the guy who tends to let it kind of snowball.
I also, yeah. But I also think that those are all pretty, like, that's pretty great to keep track roughly of your calories, right? Like, that's general healthy living.
Yeah.
You know, that's not like you're going in and you're like having a personal trainer that is doing like body fat measurements on you, and you're, you know, like, well, this is all I'm prescribed to eat today, so this is all I can have.
Oh God,
you know, it's like that to me. Like, and granted, if that's who you are, like, fantastic. You know, if you are so motivated by the results, then great. But I'm only motivated by the fact that, like, I want to go out next year and, you know, like, do races and just race harder.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of the other stuff. It's not like I'm going to win.
That being said, what are objectives? Where are you? Are you wins? Are you participation? Are you PRs? Are you have fun? Where do you lie on that spectrum of objectives? I hate using the word goals because my dad used it all the time. And my dad got into those self-help tapes and shit like that, and we'd be driving down everywhere, and he'd always put in Dr. Wayne Dyer. This was the dad's name, and how to be a no-limit person. And I'm not making this shit up. This is the dude and his name and we were listening to that, and they're in the front seat going, oh yeah. No, that's right. That's a good idea. Don't you think, honey? And he's looking back at us, and we're going, Jesus, put on the Bee Gees or something like that. You know, anything. I'll take Simon and Garfunkel at this point in time, because it was just, I lost my track, but you know, that the goals, you know, write down your goals and put them on a piece of paper and put them in your sock drawers, or, you know, I think of it as like Rocky, you know, where he's got Ivan Drago on his mirror and he's like, I want to beat you, know, that kind of stuff. And I just don't like that term anyway. But what are your, sorry, what happened? Blacked out. Objectives. What do you strive for when it comes to your cycling life?
Well,
don't say balance, because that'll just piss me off.
No, I am someone who does like to pay attention to the results, especially, you know, if I qualify myself as, you know, the guy who's going to be there at the pointy end of the race.
Sure.
At the end of it all, I think that's something that I really do like to pay attention to. This year, I don't know what it is. I've got this really big motivation to, like, for this team to just, like, kind of to puff its chest out a little bit. I think that there's a lot going on, and I think that last year was kind of like a figuring out year a little bit. It was the first time that all of us have ever really raced together at the same time, and so I've got a big motivation there. But I think, like, top 10s, I want to do a lot of that.
Okay.
But I think overall I'm just excited to get back out. I think that's maybe what it is. The thing that motivates me more is just to get back out, to experience that feeling again.
But if you got back out and you were mid-pack, would you be okay with that?
Well, I think,
Be honest, Jackson.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I think that what would make me okay is that I want to, now that I kind of know a little bit more about racing, I want to affect the race in a way that is positive for us.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's more than never putting your nose in the wind.
Yeah, I really want to contribute to the team, whether it be me or you guys.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Okay. Sam? God, the evil grin.
I
sure hope that was on YouTube, because that was a snapshot moment. That was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Inside the mind of a madman.
Very simple. It never changes, honestly. FSU.
Okay.
Fuck shit up.
Yeah.
That is my goal. Like, I will.
You know how frustrating
Grandma, close
that
your
is?
ears.
You know how frustrating that is one of your teammates, though.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like,
and I know.
and-
It's like,
and-
Sam, help us. And I'm like foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. You're the pit bull and David's the squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should figure that out this year.
Sounds like you got some shit to figure out.
I'm going to tell you how many I can't count on both hands the amount of times I've gone to bed thinking, those two are perfect. That's exactly what we need. I think of so many different plans to win races every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if Sam's like, you know,
just gotta let me
at the
know.
front going, ah, and Dave is going, ping, 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 ping. You're left standing alone because all you got left are Paul and I, who are in the back, in the handicap part of the bus, going, we're the old men from the Muppet Show, and none of you guys get that reference because Paul's not here.
Oh, I get
it. That's us in the back of the field.
But all I need is about, I don't know, 15 seconds of a tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's all I need from
and
two
if
people.
if we're distracting them so much that they are just hyper focused on trying to chase us down, Jackson gets a free ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that we could use it beneficially. But
we don't need to give that away this year.
No, we don't.
I find it interesting that you guys talk about racing. You know, your objectives being racing, and personally, for me, some of my best times on the bike have not been racing. It's been big, hardcore group rides.
But with us, right? Like we're racing.
1,000%.
Like, because I am trying to rip all your legs off.
Yeah.
Like,
but
that's
there's no number.
No. And that's why I don't think that necessarily. That's why, once again, I would broad spectrum just say FSU, right? Like, that's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't care what I'm going to do the Thursday nights again, like I did last year. Mm-hmm. I just want to mess those up. Okay. I want to be like I said in the beginning of this, podcast. Me. I want people to talk about me. I want people to be like, shit, Sam messed it up. Like, Sam just
everything was going
dropped
fine.
the ball out there.
So there are no specific. I mean, you guys hold those cards close to your chest. Specific day goals where you're like, on June 28th of this year is a race I want to win.
Mm-hmm.
There's one.
There are some. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have set goals, like, because, for me, I don't really care about any of the local races.
Yeah.
They're all practice races for me, just because, like, if we're talking about how many people show up, love them. Thank you very much for putting them on.
Yeah.
They're the, people that do. But they're practice races. They're opportunities for me to go in FSU. But the bigger races, like Ephrata, like that one, I want to try to do top 25.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, that'd be a goal. It's something like that. Like the bigger races that I think we all can go do, like Montana maybe again. Like placing at all of those. But
because I see, you see in a lot of training portfolios, training plans, coach dynamics where they ask you to pick, obviously, peak moments in your season.
Like ABC races.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is, for me, that's become almost something that it's like, I don't even bother with that element because I don't know if I want to. There's not like a moment where I'm like going, okay, for example, even the Leadville moment or the BWR moment, and I'm going to stop mentioning BWR here shortly because I think people are tired of me saying it. But those events, those big calendar events, I've trained for them. Those were moments that you established a build up. I don't do that as much anymore, and I know that that's probably not as beneficial to your training. Am I? Do you guys? So you guys don't necessarily do that. Are you guys incorporating that into your lives, or are you just going, I want to just be a fast bike racer for the whole year?
Yeah,
and averagely fast, not like, I'm gonna fly it this day.
There are days specifically that I want to, fly.
Yeah.
Right. But changing and training, I don't know if there's a lot that goes on in that. I think that it's just kind of how it seasonally works out sometimes.
Yeah.
There are certain races that kind of peak at the beginning of summer that kind of just coincide with how life works,
Okay.
Beginning of summer, that's when everybody starts to ride a lot. Kind of works out really well. But I think that keeping with the same training plan is something that I really try to harp on myself with, because the second I drop that off, the second that all goes away.
Yeah, I would also answer that with in which I would actually be very curious to find your follow-up with this. If I take these things too seriously, it ruins it for me.
Really?
Because I did it for years, where I was I need top 5 here. Like, and it was like, if I didn't, I was pissed.
Yeah.
And it just ruined it. And if I think about like this year where I had my best performances, it was where I was like, I'm going to destroy everybody in this field.
Yeah.
I will make it across this finish line, and I don't care. Like, I'm just going to be dead. And that's all I'd focus on, right? And those were some of my best performances. It just so turned out. But like putting that pressure on yourself to do well at X, Y, or Z doesn't really line up well for me. So I don't choose A, B, C events. I just basically follow the training program to you're going to have various peaks throughout the year. I think last year I probably had like 2 times that I was like, I'm going, right?
Yeah.
But after that, it's like, you're going to have races where it's like, I just want to show up and just race really hard. So for me, like, at least if I take it too seriously, where I really lay out an ABC, it will ruin it for me. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Well,
and you notice that some people who do that tend to be the people who don't last as long.
And that brings me into the last part.
Hold on. Let me. Sorry. I started racing at 13.
Yeah.
In case nobody knows, I'm 54 years old.
God, you're old.
I know, right? I have been a competitive cyclist for 41 years, right?
Yeah.
Did I get the numbers right? Mm-hmm. And to be able to, I'm not saying I'm at the level I was when I was 19, 20, 21, 23, stuff like that, but to be able to get up, to pull on a pair of shorts and to keep riding, there has to be more than ABC races. There has to be the camaraderie. There has to be the individual goals. And for those of you listening to the show who are older in years, you have to be able to set established goals, understanding that your 20-something-year-old son is going to kick your ass. But how long can you hold on? And I know that sounds like you're compromising, but it's not. You just accept reality, and you hope at some point in time you can dust his ass in a city limit sprint, or you can be there at that moment where he went, oh, why did you go then? That hurt, or something like that. Or you can, shove him into a ditch and win the race.
Yeah.
Whoa, blacked out again. So what were you going to say?
So you just actually made it better because you brought that full circle, right? Like, that is like intrinsic versus extrinsic. Mm-hmm. And like, that is setting reasonable goals. You just covered like everything that we've been talking about in one, because intrinsic versus extrinsic, right? Like, setting goals where it's like, you have been a racer for that long, right?
I've got my wins.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to get him again unless I'm racing Bs or age categories. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So how do you fit a walker on your bike? Shit, I'm going to mess you up.
But like, but for the intrinsic versus extrinsic, like, studies show that people who have intrinsic motivators, right, who just want to improve themselves, they want to stay fit. They want to be, like, having fun out there, like you're talking about, camaraderie, all that, right? That's intrinsic stuff.
A lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's having fun with it.
Yeah.
Those people last long. Extrinsic individuals who are comparing themselves to others, who are going for wins, those are the people that burn out, and you see them even come into relevance in their 30s, and then they're done by like mid 40s, right? They're like, this sucks.
Hey, or maybe see my sports car and my young girlfriend.
Exactly.
Well,
and then they just like quit riding.
Yeah.
So like, intrinsic versus extrinsic, right? And then also setting like attainable things. You're just saying that like, it's not attainable that you're going to jump into a Cat 1-2 against a bunch of 20, 30-year-olds and be competitive. And like, bravo to you. You did choose wisely.
Oh my God. Remember all the shit you guys gave me?
No.
B stands for bitch. And I'm like, no,
I don't think so.
Here's the race director said, you'll be happy in the B's.
Yes.
And he was right.
He was very right.
So right.
And like, I probably should have set my goals more reasonably that race too, right? Like, I probably would have had more fun.
Your wife is nodding vigorously right now.
Yeah. She's like, every day, Sam. Every day. But yeah, so like, you just brought it full circle, right? Like, trying to be intrinsic versus extrinsic, right? And then setting attainable goals in perspective into sport, because like, that's what's really important, right? We're out having fun with our friends.
Yeah.
Because very few of us are racing professionally.
Jackson, you gained that perspective far quicker than I did. I remember your soccer years, and I remember even, the first years of your cycling life, where as your father who took this shit way too seriously, I found myself going, does he want to be a pro? Does he want to, go to that next level? Because I'll support you, man. I'm there for you. But, at no point in time did I ever try to, I don't think I tried to bring it up to you. If I did, you can tell me now. Dad, you're such a prick. So yeah, Sam's opening his Skittles, everybody in the background. Did that kind of concept cross your mind, or did it get burned out in soccer?
The pro thing, I think, is something that every kid dreams about.
Sure.
But then realistically, as life
and a lot of middle-aged men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as life goes on, you got to really understand what matters to you, and I think that's something I feel like I mentioned the last year a lot, but I had a lot of mental struggles that I was going through, and sure, it didn't seem like it, but a lot of the times I was comparing myself to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes I would almost call it a quarter-life crisis, funnily enough. Yeah. But I think that's something that really helped me. Not saying that, people need to go through that difficulty, but I went through that, and I realized that sustainably always putting the pressure on yourself, whether it be in sport, work, whatever it is it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It is unsustainable to continue to pile all that pressure on yourself, saying that you need to be the best in every single area. And I think that the reason why I kept harping on putting the bar so low is just because I think you worrying about what I tell my students this all the time. You worrying about you is the most important thing.
Wow.
Because if you start to compare yourself, you won't be happy. I remember waking up for work every single morning last year and thinking, if I'm not the best today, then is it worth even going?
Shit.
And so that was really hard, and even in cycling. And so I always try, setting attainable goals. Don't think that you're always going to be a pro, because if you do, you're just going to be disappointed sometimes.
When you fall short.
Yeah. If, depending on who you are, if you're the next Tadej Pogacar, great. But if you're not,
there's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, sometimes it would get in my head, but it wouldn't be from you. It would be from social media or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess what I will end my lengthy answer with is just like, worry about you and just be happy in who you are, because there's nobody like you. Not to make it cheesy.
No.
I mean, isn't it? Who was it? Is it Teddy Roosevelt that said comparison is the thief of joy?
Yeah.
And that's what's hard about our sport too, is like that's all it is.
You know what though? I'm going to go broader. This is an entire concept of how we live our lives. I didn't think I was going to mention this, and I hope my mother's not listening. I woke up Sunday morning in AFib again, first time in a long time. Sorry to tell you that here now. Took my beta blocker, and by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was gone. But the funny thing is, I was talking to my wife about it, and she said, "Oh, is it from blah 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 blah?" And she says, and she looked at me, she says, "God, it was only a year ago that you." And we realized that it is basically a year ago when I was stressing about life and stressing about work and all these kinds of things, and this is when this became established. I don't know how to not set the bar high. And I don't know, I don't want that to sound like I'm a douche, overachiever kind of a thing. I don't know how to not train to beat you guys, how to not train to be national champion, how to not train to, because when I entered the sport of cycling, with an objective to be a professional bicycle racer. And so it's such a weird thing to try and shift in your life without thinking you're a failure. I know that's depressing as shit, but no, I hope there's somebody out there listening to this going, holy shit, I do the same thing to myself.
Yeah.
It's your generation too.
Oh,
that's hardcore though, rooted into your generation.
I'm not a fucking boomer. I'm an ex.
I know you're ex.
Okay. Yeah.
No, that's your generation though. Like you guys grind, and it's one of those things that you you are always pushing for being better, working hard, all of that stuff. And so and like, I feel like, you and I talking about this makes us sound lazy, but there's a balance.
It's perspective.
Right? It's perspective.
It's taking everything into account.
Yeah, because like that's just rooted in you. Like that is your upbringing that taught you like you need to train. It's like you bring it back to your dad, right? Like I'm not blaming your dad for any of this, but like goals. You need to be better. It's like exactly
from those tapes.
Exactly, and it's like it's one of those things where. I mean, like
this is the best therapy in the world.
Yeah, but if that is the case, it's just like if you set a goal to reach the stars and you fall short at the moon, right? Then you've never done enough.
Yeah.
You made it to the frickin' moon and you've never done enough.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you set those goals to be attainable and you're like, I want to make it to the moon, and then you shoot and you make it to the stars, it's like, fuck, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I walk in every day. I'm like, I just gotta wake up and brush my teeth.
Yeah. Well,
I'm amazing. I worked today, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I talk about
what a perspective. God, what a generational shift.
I know.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. Oh, what was I going to say? It was good. I was going to say. I know I talk about the mentality and like my mental struggles of it all, but I think just like those small goals or like attainable goals is something that is it does help, because like when you get going to the big stuff, professional cycling, how are you going to really attain that? And your priorities too, as a young person, I always think, oh, I'm of that age, I still can reach that level. But then it's like, I don't know, I want to be married, I want to do that stuff, I want to be a regular person. And so it's just thinking about it a little bit more than just, can I be the best one here is a lot.
Yeah. Okay, it's really interesting. That was like, and so I'm like, okay, how do I take this back to bike training? I don't. I just shift.
That is all part of bike training.
Yeah,
it's all part of
it is. It's 100%
especially in the
is.
winter,
Yeah, it 100% is. Let me ask you guys about winter structure versus spring and summer structure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys, I mean, it sounds like we're all following specific metrics, workouts, things like that to a degree. Why does I know that shifts in the summer. I know summer becomes more fly by the seat of your pants. I lift weights in the summer, in the winter. I do core work in the summer. In the winter, sorry. I do, and by the way, if you haven't found Darebee, and I mentioned it quite often on the website, on the podcast, Darebee, Darebee is a website with all these great simplistic workouts and all kinds of things you can do. When I was in AFib last year, I had Darebee just monthly challenges posted to in my office, and one of them was just lunges. And so I would just go, because it wasn't cardiovascular, I got myself up to doing like 500 lunges in a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did 10,000 I think in a month. God. And it just doing a little bit a day, and it starts with like 20. And you just pick away at it. Boom, 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 boom. It's a great website for that. But what do you do? Let's be honest now, do you maintain structured training once the road's dry?
I think, well, not I think, I know, I don't. And what I have recently said over the past year is that I will continue to ride inside even when it's nice. I know.
You will.
Yes. But
I won't.
The only reason I say that is because that's what's going to keep my structure. That's what's going to keep the fitness when I go outside and I'm like, oh, I can kind of dilly-dally, lollygag
zone
a little
one,
bit.
zone two.
Yeah. I want to keep that strength, that structure all going. So I know Paul's rolling his eyes or wanting to hit me right now, but that's the type of stuff that I'm going to do to keep it going.
Sam,
hell no.
Tell the truth.
Hell no do I do structured training in the summer.
No, right?
It is about ripping your legs off at any opportunity I have.
But is that structured training because it's like a race effort?
No, because sometimes
you can't call a race effort structured training.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. Like structured training is going out and doing like anywhere up to, your intervals, right? Like maybe you're doing like a sweet spot interval, you're doing a threshold interval, you're doing 20-minute threshold intervals, whatever that is, right? But then you're taking a break in between. I'm saying that I'm going to do a 20-minute threshold interval, try to crack David in half, and then maybe only 5 minutes later, I'm going to do another one, right? It's like I'm not resting him for these. Like, and that's, for summer, for me, that is the best part because...
Isn't that what you're training for?
I'm training for that in the winter. That is what's keeping me going in the winter.
Okay. Do you do any strength in the summer months, warm months? I know.
Do I do any strength at any time?
Strength training? You don't. Well, you're talking about your HIIT classes, and
but
stuff like
that's
that.
One time, and I've done core workouts. One time. I'm gonna be realistic. Yeah, one time last night.
Yeah.
But no, like I do my other like core workouts, but I consider like I do all of our house reno stuff. Is what I'm working on, right? Like that's. Yeah,
I tell my wife this all the time. I'm like,
ditch.
we worked our asses off in the yard today, and that is a 7-hour workout.
Yes, no, truly. Like, I've gotten done on so many of those nights where it's like, I dug a trench throughout the day, and it's like I can barely pick my arms up. That to me is, strength training.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I would say that.
Am I the only one who does any type of virtual racing on this show? Why?
Because it sucks. It's not what you want to do in the winter. I don't want to race.
See, that motivates me.
Yeah.
I'll pick an event. I'm like going, okay, let's see how I can do.
But does it motivate you intrinsically or extrinsically, right? Does it motivate you because you want to see how much power you can put out, or does it motivate you because you want to see where you rank up against others?
Well, it's
because then if you don't do well,
but no, you can't say it's one or the other, because it is both. Because it is intrinsically, because I am able to see how well I can do, and it's in extrinsic. That's a shit word, because I've seen how I've done against other people. I can't brag. I'm not going online to the people I raced against going, take that, motherfucker, or anything like that. All I'm doing is going out there and riding, and I'm like, holy shit, I got third. That's cool. I don't know these people from Adam. They could be bots.
Yeah.
But I got third. That makes me feel good about myself. And it makes me feel that, okay, I'm on track to something.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a better version than an FTP test for you.
Yeah. Because it's as online racing is not the same. I was going to say it's not bike racing, but that's not true, because it is. It's not the same. You don't take into account the chess game. You don't take into account tactics. You don't take into account a lot of that stuff. You just go balls out. And I know that somebody's going to at me and say, hey, you can draft on whatever online platform, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, let's be honest. When you start the line, and if you aren't at 500 watts when the gun goes off, you're dropped. That's not bike racing.
Yeah.
Unless it's a crit. But yeah. What platforms? I like I said, Dare Be. Maria mentioned Apple.
Yeah, so if you pay, which you do, Dad, you pay for all the whole, Apple.
By the way,
ecosystem.
It's the greatest deal in the world. If one person pays for an Apple subscription, you can share it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my family gets to use, and it's okay with Apple. The Apple Fitness setup, and it's freaking cool.
It's really cool because what it does is first of all, it is all through Apple TV or your watch, phone, whatever.
Yeah.
And for instance, we do it through the Apple TV, and my wife, she connects her watch to it. And, surprisingly enough, these Apple Watches, they do have relatively accurate heart rate data.
Really? I didn't know that.
I know, right?
That was sarcastic from me, whose Apple Watch saved his fucking life.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm joking.
No, I know.
No, I'm not.
But yeah. Yeah, you are a little. But so it will show you all that on the screen. It'll show you the calories. It'll do all that, and it gives you like an interactive class that you can do in the comfort of your own living room.
Yeah.
It's super cool. And it also like compares like how you did to the rest of the people in the world on that class and stuff. And you can turn that off. It's really cool. And it gives you different options about like how to do each exercise. I could go on forever. It's a great platform though.
Yeah. Sam, you mentioned, though,
God, you are just reading my brain today.
the element. It's almost like I'm a broadcaster.
I know.
You mentioned the element of, and we talked about the social dynamic of it and how much we love ripping each other's legs off and all those kind of stuff like that. but you brought into it, and you brought into it last week, and the in-person element is so critical. I don't know about you guys. Yes, I can work out in my house, but that's my house. If I go someplace, it's legit. If there is a time and a place I need to be, or you guys are going to bust my balls, I'm going to be there. So you mentioned another dynamic of getting together and making it happen.
Yeah, so I work at a clinic that also has a fitness center, Tailwind, in Spokane. I'll plug them.
Absolutely, you can plug them.
Yeah, so the fitness center upstairs runs awesome classes, and my wife has gone to them for a while. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this out. Like, first off, I could always use some core, or upper body strengthening, as any cyclist could. But then on top of that, like, good.
Just core.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Let's be honest, guys.
Really.
I mean, come on.
Really.
Mr. What's the kettlebell over here? He's had it for 2 weeks. Suddenly he's an expert.
Yep.
Well,
doing
well. So
yeah, I know.
Can I say?
Yeah, you're doing better than me, so just rub it in, please.
But yeah, no, I think also on top of that, the camaraderie part of it. For me, it was joining my wife, for a workout, like time that we could spend together. It crushed me. And it made me, like, I give her the credit. It made her think, that we should do this as a team. Like, because feeding all back to where we want during the winter, right, is like, we've fought this idea. Let's do, trainer rides together. Like, let's meet up on Zwift, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to ride virtually from my house and give you a thumbs up, as I'm drafting you or something.
Yeah.
Instead, I could, in person, harass you for not doing a proper squat or something. I don't know. Yeah. But it's like we can all have fun, and like we get the camaraderie part of like being in a group and like, but doing something different, right? And so it's like you're team building, you're doing strength training, which you should be doing in the winter. And
I don't hate it.
I'm going to get everybody to do it. I don't know about Paul. Also, mostly just because of his schedule.
Plus, he's going to be
and
like,
he's going to be like, what core? I've made it 60-something years like this.
Yeah.
I don't even need my thumb anymore.
My balls touch the water when I pee.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think it'd be fun even because like, are we gonna have our spouses go too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that would be really fun to have the whole gang there. I don't know.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do need other people to get me to those, though.
Yeah.
Because, and this is nothing against the class format at all or the place that we're speaking about. I just, like I mentioned before, I like to worry about me. And when I'm in those settings, sometimes I worry about not me when it's not around people that I'm consistently exercising with. And so that's my only issue with it.
Is it a comfort bubble kind of a thing, or
it is? I'm not doing it as well as that person, and so now I feel bad about myself.
Really?
Well, so I shouldn't have made the joke about calling you out for bad squat form.
Oh no!
No, see, I'm looking across the room at the other guy who's doing it as strong as me, and I'm just going, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Well, see, because what I do is
40 pounds.
Yeah. I internalize it, and then I'll go home for the next 4 weeks and try and do it better than that person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or the
you
same
are
as that person.
Really competitive.
You are my son.
That's why. That's why we take breaths. It's okay to be anxious some days. Like it's a whole thing. You know?
And we realize that like.
Is it okay to be anxious every day? I'm asking for a friend.
That's a clinical. Say it with me. Clinical anxiety.
It's anxiety.
But yeah, I think that like.
All right.
It's fun for like we all can go together. And do some activity, and really at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's about we're hanging out for an hour and we're doing something besides riding bikes.
And as my wife would say, and this is just, she's adorable. I just want everybody to know this. My wife would say, I just need to make sure that if I accidentally fart in a class, nobody will call me out on it.
No one.
If she's listening, we're about 8 seconds away from a "you son of a bitch." Okay. Did
I think we really you nailed all of that.
Do we take it too seriously? Do we take cycling too seriously? Do you guys? How would you rate yourself as how seriously you take the sport?
I'd Take it pretty seriously because I need to. If I don't, then I won't.
Too seriously, not enough, or just right?
In between just right and too seriously.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sam?
Yeah, I think just right. I think this last year I really struck balance with having fun with the sport, training hard, but then realizing at the end of the day, none of this really matters. We're spinning in circles.
Am I wrong? But when we first met, you were like, I might race again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys re-sparked the flame for me.
All right.
It's
cool.
the camaraderie part.
Cool.
It's it's fun to try to rip your guys' legs off, and it's been really fun when I'm like dying and I'm like, you can't kill me.
Yeah. I will admit, just under a year ago, I was trying to figure out how to define myself because I probably take cycling too seriously because it has been such a part of my life since I was 13 that it has been hard to ever imagine a life without it. And I'm so incredibly thankful. I should have said that at the Thanksgiving table, but that was selfish. Because not to be able to do this, to be able to go out with you guys and do this, or to have this moment sitting in front of this microphone to talk about these things, it would, as I always say, when somebody asks you, when you meet somebody for the first time, they say, "So tell me about yourself." What do you say? What do you say? Some of the first things people always tend to say is what they do for a living. And I remember I met somebody a long time ago who said, "Don't tell me what you do for a living. That's not who you are. That's not about yourself. Sure, you're a teacher. Okay, great. That's not who you are." And so I thought about that a lot. And one of the things I thought about was like when people ask me, cyclist is what it would be one of the first 5 words that came out of my face. Yeah. No offense, father, husband, all that kind of shit.
I don't even think about
that. But that's
that
kind of
stuff.
given. But a cyclist would be one of the first things that fell out of my face. And to not have had that would have been devastating. And it might still be devastating. I'm not saying that tomorrow I'm not going to wake up and AFib's back and I'm on an e-bike for the rest of my life. But I'd be on an e-bike.
Yeah,
I would be
exactly.
on a freaking e-bike.
Those avenues.
Because that's still what it is. Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay. 117 into the show. I'm going to give you a quick news. What do I call it? How do I call it? Do I want to call it a quick news bumper? Sure. News brought to us by our friends at Untapped Maple. Pure Vermont maple syrup provides the base. Quick digestive energy is the result. Thanks to our friends at Untapped Maple. Strava has messaging now. Yeah. Have you guys even tapped into this?
Message the other day,
packaged with your pricing, packaged with your price increase. I should do this as a salesperson. Hey, everybody! Packaged with your new price increase comes a new feature. That's right. Is it Find My Way Home? Nope. Is it updated maps? Nope. Is it better integration to other platforms? Hell no! It's messaging because we don't have that. Come on.
We caught up to AOL. Yeah. Instant messaging.
Boop, bop, boop. Are anybody planning on using Strava instant messaging?
Actually, wouldn't I've thought for a while.
Unless you could voice text
messaging
to your
is
thing.
really nice if you've met a new rider and you just want to say like, "Hey, nice ride" or whatever, and like.
But that's like kudos,
something.
And you can leave a message, which has always been there.
There's been a few times, or like where I don't want to say like, "Hey, good ride." Love to ride with you again, and then you can like leave your number or something, right?
Oh, so you don't want everybody to see it.
I don't want everybody to see my phone number, right? Like there are some things probably like that would be nice that I've always thought, but yeah, my wife just messaged me on yesterday, "Nice ride," and I was like, "What is this message thing on Strava? What is that?" And then I was like, "Wait, there's a message?
Yeah,
that's new."
But
I'm not premium.
Oh, yeah. I bet you still got it?
Yes, I got it.
I bet you that's like I feel like that's one of those inclusions that you can't really exclude people from.
Yeah.
That'd be a little tough for them. I'm probably never going to use it, to be honest with you.
No.
Because there are so many other ways of communication at this point. If you want to, yeah, exactly. Thank you. If you want to message other people, text them. You probably follow them on some sort of social media. It's so far behind everything else that it's like that's the last thing I'm going to think of right now.
Okay.
Is this why we all gave up Strava so that they could bring a message?
I didn't give up Strava. Jackson and I did not give up Strava.
No.
We paid.
But I did see something. A lot of creepy men. It's just men. Creepy men.
Oh.
Might possibly take this as, oh, hey, we did the ride by feature. Now I know where you rode. We should do that same route together. Can I show up at your house?
But that's why it hides your starting and finishing point.
Yes. You
Which I'm
have to
glad
set that.
Oh, you do.
You do. You have to set that specific thing. So it's like, with everything, there's good and bad, but we now have GPS tracking in an app and messaging. So it.
Okay.
Yeah.
My other news headline I'm going to bump for next week because I think it'll be fun for Paul to be able to comment on the fact that Campagnolo is no longer in the Pro Peloton.
I can't wait to hear his opinion.
But we are going to go to. I need a bumper for Sam.
Lance,
I need a bumper for Sam.
dang it, Lance.
Yeah. So I don't have one unless I don't have one. No, we're gonna go with with Fit Tips with Bike Fit Sam, and some old coot brought this up to the table again. I'm talking about Q factor, and I know I should know better. I don't know what Q factor is. I bet I will once you explain it to me. But how is it important, and how is it determined upon a fit? You have this magical chest on the bar tonight. It's just it does. It's just like I do not expect you to. I expect you to die.
The button.
Yeah, exactly. And so, Jackson, do you know what Q factor is? You're gonna say yes. Okay, good. Because
Hell no.
You don't need to.
What the hell is it, Sam? And how is it important? And how is it determined in a fit?
Yeah. So Q factor in bike fit is different than like technically Q factor because. If you're just talking about Q factor, bike manufacturers are talking about basically like crank width, so like the spindle length.
Okay.
And so let's very briefly touch on that.
Probably with hips.
Yeah, and so like everybody has seen the 68 millimeter long like pedals or spindle width, right? 93, so on and so forth. They go wider. Well, then we can go out to like a road bike is about the narrowest that you can get. You get into the fat bikes or the e-bikes, and they actually have a wider Q factor, so your feet stand farther apart.
Okay.
Right? And so it all has to do with stance width. And that is what it's relative to in a bike fit, is stance width. Because it's where are your feet on the pedals. And like how far apart is that? So
Holy shit.
There is a standard for it, actually, that like every pedal manufacturer does, and that's, I think it's 53 if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's 53, and then it goes up 2 millimeters at a time. So there are companies out there that do actual replacement pedal spindles. There's very few, shockingly. Like this is like whoever's out there that is an engineer that is listening to this, design a pedal platform that allows for interchangeable spindle lengths. It would be.
Oh my god!
It would be, and granted, Speedplay
For those
has
of you who
kind
can't
of in
see
a way
what he's
done
got
that.
in front of me, it's a magical box with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of Speedplay pedals, and they are all of varying spindle lengths.
Yep, exactly. And so technically, Speedplay has kind of done that, right? But you have to buy like these really expensive titanium or stainless steel or whatever. So let's get into this.
Cost in cycling.
Yes. I have a few different options here, right? Like I have anywhere varying from I guess this is 50 is where the Speedplay will start with. 53 is the pretty standard, all the way up to 65. So if we go 65, you are adding that 15 millimeters, 1.5 centimeters on each side, right? So you're adding 30 millimeters to your stance width. That's
Howdy,
a ton.
partner.
Yeah, no, really?
Yeah.
Really? That is totally it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, if you, depending upon your alignment of your lower extremity, right, how wide your pelvis is, you need to change your Q factor because you want, I know, you got birthing hips, too.
Well, I'm just, I grew up with everything was standard. It was just standard.
Yeah.
And you just dealt with it.
Yep. And so, like, it depends on, like, this is definitely something, go to a bike fitter because, like, they're going to look at you and they're going to drop a laser down the line. And if you can do this at home too, but, like, laser down the line of the hip, the middle of the hip, the middle of the knee and the middle of the ankle, right?
Yeah.
That should go straight up and down the whole way through. If it's changing throughout your pedal stroke, you probably need to narrow or widen your pedal stroke with your Q factor. So that's where you're like, I have even other options. I have these other add-on ones that are 2 centimeters on each side. I have 1 millimeters, which are just these wider pedal washers. These are all things that like your typical bike fitter should probably have. I would bank on the fact that anybody worth their weight is going to have.
In the overall scheme of things, how big of a difference is this going to be? What does a poor fit with shorter pedals, narrower width? How seriously is that going to affect somebody?
Good question. So, I would say that if they are too narrow or wide, the biggest thing is going to be pain.
Okay.
If they're
Hip,
too narrow,
joint,
you're going to
knee,
get hip pain. Yep, on the outside of the hips because your legs are being pulled in too far. If you are too wide, then your knees are trying to pull in, and you're going to get pain on the inside of your knees. Yeah, so inside of the knees, outside of the hips.
Pretty common?
It's not uncommon for sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's usually can be remedied with just like a few of these 1 millimeter spacers that I have. Like I can stack up to I think 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
on
until you
each
start
side.
losing thread.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and then you can go down the more expensive route of like, wow, I have all these pedals, right?
Wow.
But yeah,
Shit.
it is important, but it's more important for pain than it is for like your
Watts or
watts.
production.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna see much of a difference with that.
I'm
you
so
know.
much faster with these wider pedals.
But I
or
mean, if you're
longer
more
pedals.
comfortable, you're probably gonna be faster, right?
Sure.
So I think there is
Wow.
that to it.
Jeez, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, our next segment before we finish, it is. Oh, thanks for bringing that, man.
Isn't that
really
cool?
It's a
Like,
great
those are
visual
all-
aid.
Yeah, I just think like plug into YouTube, guys.
For those of
because,
you who don't watch us on YouTube, you should because
yep, I got fun toys.
and you guys have matching shirts.
And we're also wearing black pants, and we're also both wearing black Chelsea boots.
What?
Yeah, so it's a whole
I
deal.
can't
party.
I can't wear Chelsea boots. I have too high of an arch.
I have a
Yeah.
high arch. There's no way.
So do I.
I'm a fragile little desert flower. We're in the holiday season, and it is gift items time. And the homework assignment was to come up with a gift item under $100. Last week it was under $50. This week it's under $100. And we're not providing direct links to this because we're idiots, and we could probably be making a little cash out of this, maybe like 20 cents a link. But it's always fun to do this. And under $100, the toy for the cyclist. I will go first, so you guys. I hope you guys are ready. I chose the Pro Bike Tool 1/4-inch drive torque wrench. It's 2 to 20 nanometers, so it's a big range. And it includes Allen and Torque
Newton meters?
screws. Newton meters, sorry. Nanometers, Newton meters.
God, I think I drank too much.
No, you were right. I'm just an idiot. I didn't know.
Okay.
So the people are busting my balls. I see NM and I think
Nanometers.
make it up and sound cool. And so I tried to make it up and sound cool, and Sam called me out. And I'm glad he did because people would have called me out. And I'm not defensive. No, no, it's a great wrench. I have it on my bench in the other room, and it is not like a major name brand, but it works really well as a torque wrench, and it is regularly $82, and it is currently $65.
Wow.
Pro Bike Tool. That's my
a hell of a
recommendation. That is. I mean, and I know we're at the point where with carbon, with the lack of the skewer on wheels, we all gotta. You have to carry Jackson. You have to carry a torque wrench with you everywhere you go to put your bike on front wheel on the bike after you get it off the car.
Yeah.
So I mean, why to have a $65 wrench in the car instead of a $400 wrench in the car? There you go. That's what I got.
Do you have 2 phones?
This is not my phone.
It's my phone. He's running the videos on my phone.
Cool.
Yeah, he does. One's a burner. Just, it's a drug dealer thing.
Yep.
I was like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. Newton meters?
Yeah, Newton meters.
Okay, I'm going with Newton meters for the rest of my life. Just like I didn't know how to say Tadej Pogacar's name for a long time.
Yeah,
Remember that?
That's a really tough one, to
Yeah.
be fair.
I was Tadej
Pogacar.
Jackson or Sam? Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Mine is, there were so many that I actually have on my Christmas list, but they're all like 109, like just barely.
Oh,
over.
you're close
I know.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if we're gonna go off of that,
Because Jackson last week was like, oh, subscription for $18 a month. That's not $50 a year.
I realize that.
and because like these
But
things
it's
are,
once a
because the
month.
next stance is gonna probably be like what 200 or something like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah,
so, then I wouldn't want this. But what I will say, I'm gonna plug it. The USWE water vest. Right, that's what you see a lot of the pro gravel riders using. I think that for anything like, you know, even mountain biking stuff, it's a killer.
And gravel.
Like, and gravel, and that's what, like, you know, for me, like, you can store a bunch of stuff in it. It also is packed for extra water, which I need that extra water on longer gravel rides, because what gravel ride has like a gas station, you know, right near there that you can stop off
And
at?
it's a legal aerodynamic fairing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. We did them in remember the road race this year.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not legal. And they're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It changed.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would get that. And I think that it's the 2-liter version is what I would get. And it's $110.
There you go. I'll
Yeah.
give you that. I'll
Yeah,
give you
yeah.
that range. That's good. That's good. And they make good stuff, and it fits really well.
Yeah,
really
it
well.
fits like it's.
I have a one that's more designed for running, Nathan.
Yep.
And it's a nice bag.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice bag.
Yep.
I'm not going to bash Nathan, but it isn't quite a cyclist fit.
Because it's the stretchy part
Yeah,
that it
yeah,
needs.
yeah.
It needs to be able to be stretchy and like mold around your shoulders because you're in that forward position.
I agree. Yeah. Jackson, what you got for us?
So I was recently looking. I was originally going to suggest one, but then I realized that the price had like tripled within the past 4 years. So not going to do that one. What I will say though is, for somebody who lives in a small place, this has been great for me. It is the Delta Cycle Michelangelo 2-bike storage rack.
Oh.
I have 2 of them in my house currently, and they're both in my garage. Not telling everybody where my bikes are, but and they stack one on top of the other. The bikes are not touching, obviously, but it's just 2 little hooks that come out of this like metal frame, and they hold any type of bike. And I love these.
Do
things.
you have to mount anything to the wall?
Nope.
That's
It just leans, right?
It leans against the wall. And like I said, I have 2 of them because it's super convenient to just be able to put your bike on there and not have to worry about, is it going to get touched by other people, or cars going to touch it, this and that.
Yeah.
And it's for any bike. I put my, I would say, rather expensive road bike on the top rack, and it's never been scratched, never fallen, nothing's ever happened to it, you know. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But $44.
44. So now you're
Quit
under 50
saving
bucks?
money.
I know. Sorry. I thought it would be more
Last
expensive
week you
than
were
that as
over,
well.
so
Well, he has
So
2,
let's just
so you need to
flip-flop.
buy 2.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I do have
If you
2
have
of
4
them.
bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're 88 bucks. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I had a final question, but we're gonna save that for next week. We're at our running time for the show. You guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Everybody on listening to this, thanks for being here. Like, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything but a click, but boy, does it help us when it comes time to show people how we're doing. So subscribe to us. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, whatever it might be, and our YouTube channel. And be sure to check out all the fun at packfiller.com. I guess that's it. Thanks so much. We will talk to you next week.
See ya.